Welcome inside a special episode of On the Board. I am Colby McKee. Across from me, Lance Dahl.
Hello.
And on the same microphone, Cory Vakoskis.
I'm right beside you, bud. I'm right beside you, Lance.
We've got four people
Nice.
in
You should have
studio.
introduced us together.
No,
We're a package deal today.
I said two guys, one microphone. So, in studio, we have Tigers defenseman, former Tigers defenseman, and member of the 2007 WHL Championship team, Shayne Brown in studio.
Yeah.
We've made it happen. Thank you so much for coming in, buddy.
No.
Let's start with, I guess, just generally your thoughts on your playing days back in Medicine Hat. You played in the old arena, and a lot of memorable moments down there in downtown Medicine Hat. Just give us your thoughts on playing for a pretty storied franchise and any memories of the old arena that come to mind.
Well, I sure miss that place, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Growing up, didn't really hear much about Medicine Hat. Grew up kind of just west of Edmonton in a little town called Stony Plain. And luckily enough, I was drafted fourth last pick in the Bantam draft. I gave up on the Bantam draft. I said, no, I'm done. I'm not even looking at it. And then, I got a phone call that night and came down, and immediately as soon as I got down to Medicine Hat for training camp, you could just tell that there was history with the team. There was, banners up in the stands, and once you got into that rink, you felt something special. Like you could feel the energy, and there was zero people on the ice. That it just felt amazing. I was lucky enough that when I was 15 years old that I was able to make the team, and right from the get-go you could just tell that this arena was amazing. The arena was just packed every night. You had people waiting for tickets for, I can't even remember how long the wait. I think
hours sometimes.
Yeah, I think even 1,500 people were on a waiting list for tickets.
Yeah.
And so, just to hear stuff like that, you could tell that people were passionate. And as soon as when I made the team, as soon as we'd have any meeting with you, they'd always talk about tradition. They would always talk about what you need to bring and what's happened in the past. And I was just very, very fortunate to be able to play and have all those experiences that I had.
And that was a big thing, though. Like, when you came in, that was when the franchise kind of was rejuvenated and was really starting to turn back in the right direction, because there were years before that weren't exactly great years. There was a lot of losing that was happening, and you kind of came in at the time where the turn was kind of in full force, and a big part of that was Coach Willie Desjardins, now back, obviously. What was your experience playing for Willie and just kind of seeing how he operated day to day for however many years in his first stint?
Yeah, Willie was by far the best coach I've ever had. Probably will ever get to meet and talk to. And I learned a lot when I was in Medicine Hat, not just about hockey, but just general life. He would portray himself in just a fantastic way that, he was very respectful to everybody. He was very kind, no matter who he was talking to. But even the way he treated his players was just outstanding. You could go and talk to him about anything. You could literally go up to him and talk to him about golf, and he'd talk to you for a long time about that. And I remember coming in, I think it was in the spring of 2004. It was after the Bantam draft, and every year they take the guys out to Cypress Hills. Yeah. And just going to Cypress Hills, I remember there was Steve Marr there. There was all these older guys that were going to play that year, and you could just tell as soon as you got there, even to hang out with those guys, just the type of team that Will wanted. And he wants to get the best out of everybody. He really does, and he does a lot of the time too. But it's not like he's forcing it out of anybody. You just know when you're on the team, you just want to respect them. You just want to do good for them, and it's pretty funny, when we're on the bench in the game, he's pretty intense, if you've ever watched him, right? The one year, as a gift at the end of the year, he actually got a sideways rocking chair. So you could tell that, Anyways, when he's on the bench, he's really intense, and I remember there's one game I was playing forward and I wasn't really paying attention to who was coming off the ice, and then all of a sudden I felt a foot in my back, and he's like, "Brownie, get out there, go!" I was like, "Oh, okay." Right? He's just all into it. He's just an amazing coach. Like he'll do anything to win. He's just amazing.
Yeah. And you talk about filling a role for him and, doing whatever you can for the team. I mean, coming in at an early age, I think you'll even characterize yourself as not exactly the most skilled player out there, but and playing forward, playing defense, what was it like for you, especially in your 16, 17-year-old years, to be able to play under him and the different roles that you had to fill?
So the first year I made the team, I actually didn't start at the Tigers training camp. I actually started up in Drayton Valley for the Junior A team. Went through their whole training camp, and they had their meetings, and then the coach there said, "Yeah, you're never going to play a game of Junior A. You're not good enough." Nothing like that. So I went to Medicine Hat, just like, "Oh, great. This is awesome." And I'm going to a WHL camp now, and I had a great camp, and I eventually made the team, but yeah, I'm was characterized as muffin hands. I couldn't shoot the puck really hard. Cement legs, grocery stick on the bench. Wow. Like where the person that separates the forwards and defense, that's the grocery stick. Or I was always hanging out with Holfeld on the bench, just talking to him the whole time. But yeah, just that whole, like, that was the year back in 06-07 when we went on the Mem Cup run. That we lost Barker, we lost Maxwell, we lost all of our good players, or the players that were going to keep our team together. And I can't remember who wrote the article way back, but they said that this wasn't going to be our year. This is going to be, I don't know, 6th place finish, and fans shouldn't get too excited.
Wow. And
then so I don't know what lit a fire under our butts or what, but yeah, we had a phenomenal year, and that year is just... Right, that Will would, he'd bake skate us some of the times, but it wasn't all the time. But yeah, no, he's just an amazing person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lance will love this. You had 172 penalty minutes in your WHL career with the Tigers. We did an episode of Starters where we drafted our top Tigers of the decade, and his team was full of goal scorers and guys who got penalty minutes.
For the record, I would have took you if you made it into the last decade.
That's
you didn't
right.
play long enough, though, dude.
Yeah.
So I guess, where did that style of play come from? Was that something that you incorporated from your days in Drayton Valley and all the way through midget and whatnot, or was it kind of like the style of player the Tigers had back then with the guys like Benfeld and Baldwin and Isherwood, like the guys who were putting up triple-digit penalty minutes? It was a very tough blue line, and it was almost like trial by fire to fit in with those kind of guys.
Yeah, like growing up, I was never a goal scorer. I'd be lucky if I got 5 goals. I think even Bantam AAA, I think I got 3 goals total. I just I just really worked hard to not focus on the offense. I was definitely a stay-at-home defenseman. If I got a point, great. If not, whatever. But I remember my first year when I was 16, I got like a plus 11, and I was just so pumped. I think I only got 1 assist or something, but I really prided myself on that.
Last game of the season.
It was the last game of the season. It was a chip off the glass even, too. I didn't even make a fancy play. It was just dump and chase and go change, yeah. But yeah, our blue line, I think back in the day, we were big, but we were also mobile. We'd block shots. We'd do a lot of the little things, right? Like Russ, he was the guy that would go down the ice, go on offense, and if I was paired up with him, I don't even think I made it over the red line into the zone. He was just gone, right? Like, yeah. But yeah, like I just would really pride myself from a young age just to really care about playing defense more than anything. And it's not all about the goals; it's about the win in the end. And we had guys like Ennis, Helm that I know would score anyways, and that wasn't really my role. But there was never a time when they told me I'd have to go out there and get goals or else I'd be cut. And, maybe when I showed up, it was just the right time. And because I was by far not the best player on the ice, definitely tried my best every single night. And yeah, it's a tough league to get into.
Yes.
It really is. Like you think about it that even all the guys that were drafted before me, second, third round, never even made it to the WHL. It really comes down to luck. It really comes down to hard work. It really comes down to your opportunity. And I think I just got that perfect opportunity, and I was lucky enough to have it and kind of fit into the mold of everything. And yeah, like my second year, like I was telling you guys, I think I played, I can't remember how many games that year, but I played at least 45 games as a forward. I wasn't even playing defense, and I wasn't even a goal scorer, nothing. But yeah, playing in those games, you just take the opportunity. You hop in when you can. You just do whatever the team needs, and yeah, just keep playing, plugging away.
I mean, you also entered the league where there was this crossover, right? Because I mean, there was the old style of hockey, like the Tigers will remember guys like Chris St. Jacques and Ryan Hallwig and Ben Thompson, and then there was your kind of era that still had the tough guys, the Benfields of the world and Gord Baldwins. I mean, you had a few Pims, like Colby had mentioned. But then there was also guys like Tyler Ennis and stuff like that. And so now, naturally, the progression, the game has changed over the past decade to the point that, I mean, it's a speed and skill game for the most part, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you can necessarily attest to it, but when you look at it, I mean, obviously the game has changed into that direction. But also a bigger difference, and maybe you can agree or disagree, is like these kids now, they almost seem to all play with one another at some point at a young age. And so they all get to know each other. And so those rivalries that you guys had back in the day with the Lethbridges and the Calgarys of the world and the Red Deers, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's as hot now just because these kids know each other from 8 and 9 years old. Was that necessarily the same for your group, or was it still kind of, I guess, segregated in the sense that you didn't necessarily know everyone right off the hop till you got into the league?
Well, no, I knew a lot of the guys, like playing on other teams and stuff. And, you know, just with hockey, you have summer hockey, you have different AAA teams that you go and play with, and you really get a bond with those guys. So I knew a lot of guys that were in Spokane and kind of all over the place. I think the difference between when I came to the league, that's when Willie really had this change in mindset where we wanted to be like speed. If you couldn't skate, you weren't going to play. And I think the year before it really scared me as a 15-year-old going in and playing. You're going against guys that are 20. They all have beards. You barely have a mustache, right?
Yeah.
And there's just these big guys that every single time you're playing, and they were just trying to take your head off. They're trying to hit you. They're trying to run you every single time, and that's just how the game was. I think when we went to the Mem Cup that year, we were one of the only teams that were built off of speed and skill, and I think that was our real big, bonus compared to every other team. And the other teams, like, I'm not saying they were bad teams. They were really good teams like Vancouver, Calgary, but they were a bigger team. And if you couldn't skate, we would burn past you. Like Darren Helm, oh my God. In practice, I got burnt every time. Like every time. Like we were doing this double swing drill. Every time I saw him, I just said, oh God, like, I can't do this, right? And we were a really speedy team that I think it really, when Clouston took over, they kept that idea to be a speed team, and I think it works really good. It's great, but I think we had that advantage back then when other teams started to catch on, and then they started to change their model. Like Benfeld, even though he was our big, bad, mean, tough defenseman, he could still skate, and if this kid was really fast, he would just grab him and just throw him up against the wall anyways. So with everything, like hockey has changed, I'd say even more so even at the last 5 years, that if you're not working out in the summer, if you're not practicing your skating, that you're not even going to have a chance to make anything now. And back in the day, you could take a summer off and like, yeah, I'm not going to say I did, but I'm just saying that if I missed a month because, I wanted to go hang out, then I could. But yeah, anyways, no, it's changed a lot, and I think it's for the better. It is different though. It's like I still watch the game now, and just the style I'd play was just more hit. And now it's not really anything. And I don't know if I don't know, just watching the Tigers lately that, I'd be watching, I'd be like, oh, why didn't that guy take that guy in the middle of the ice? Why didn't he go and run him? And I think the game has just shifted, and I think it is good because I'm pretty sure if I had a brain scan, then you'd see a couple of injuries in there too, but it is what it is, and can't change it now.
I think we're slowly inching our way to the stories of the 07 run. So let's get into the WHL Championship. We'll get to the Memorial Cup in a little bit. So you did get one game in played. That was Game 3. 44 minutes of penalties in the first 4 seconds.
That was great.
Take us through that, and then
so
obviously
cool.
everything of the 2007 run, the Fog game, and obviously winning the WHL Championship. Take us through that memories.
Yeah,
those memories.
That whole year, it was a fun year. It was just a great year. I think that year we went on a 16 or 17 game win streak, or I could be wrong. That could have been the year before, but
Well, we'll say it is now. That's
yeah,
fine.
well, sure.
So good,
We're good.
No one's looking.
we started doing really well. I think we were in the top 10 in the CHL within the first 2 months, and that's when guys really started to say to themselves like, "Wow, we can really do this." And
this is coming off the report saying that you guys weren't going to have any chance. This is the same year. Correct?
yeah, we finished first place. We had the Scotty Monroe trophy the year before. We were first place. We had Cam Barker and all these all-stars, and then we lost all of them. And then we were told that they might not make playoffs this year. And so throughout the whole year, I think we just had a really competitive group. We had guys like Dorsett, Stevens, and every single practice you had, they would just bring 100%. Like, I'm pretty sure we had about 5 or 6 fights even just in practice. And, they were just because guys were so competitive. And it wasn't that we hated each other. It was just guys wanted it so bad. And I think that's honestly what made us so successful, that guys would just go out and give 100% every single night. They would fight each other in practice and hug each other after. And, it's just, we had a special bond. And by the time we got to playoffs, we knew that Vancouver was hosting Mem Cup that year. And we finished in a good place in the standings. And going through playoffs, I think we played Swift. I think it was Swift Current first. And then I can't remember.
I think the Red Deer was that
Red
game,
Deer, yes.
Game 7. It
Yes,
was game
game
7.
7, yep.
So I think that was a very tough first round, actually. So
yeah, and that's when Sutter was the coach on the
Right.
bench, and even he was standing on the boards, I remember, and he the fans were doing the chant Sutter, Sutter, and that was a hard fought series, and we made it past that. And I think if we would have lost against Red Deer, it would have been like, yep, that's the team we know, like they're done.
Yeah.
But once we got past that and eventually made it to Calgary, even the Calgary series was really hard fought too. I think we won the series 4-1, but the elation that we had when we beat Calgary, because we knew Vancouver already finished their series. I think they swept either Everett or Seattle or somebody, and they swept them. They're going to the finals, so the team, it was either us or Calgary. We knew whoever was going to win that game was going to the Mem Cup, and we were just battling every game. And so we beat Calgary. We go to play Vancouver. But the thing about Vancouver is, I don't know if people even remember this. Kendall McCardle was on that team, and he got traded from Moose Jaw.
Yes.
But at the kind of, I'd say halfway between our year, we were playing Moose Jaw, and we had the huge line brawl. And
all right,
we had the huge line brawl, and there was just this hate for the Moose Jaw Warriors in between us. And right, we played hard, we'd battle hard, and Kendall McCardle was he was a good player, but
He was also a weapon.
Oh yeah,
Like, he was a weapon.
I'll tell this story that we were in the Crush Can in Moose Jaw, and I was playing forward this game. This is a game where I got ran in the corner. I chipped the puck out. Colton Grant goes down the ice and scores a goal. Great. I'm playing for it. I'm excited. Well, the next shift, I dump the puck in the corner. All of my team, like, they go and change. I'm all by myself. And this guy, this poor guy, he's skating in the corner. I thought it was a lot farther, but apparently I hit him from behind. Apparently. Yeah, I thought it was a lot farther out. Anyways, I never saw the video after. I didn't want to see it. And I hit him, but apparently I hit him from behind. He goes in the boards and he had to get stitches. But as I'm skating for a line change because they got the puck, all of a sudden I feel a two-hand on the back of my legs. And it was Kendall McCardle, sorry. And he's just screaming at me saying he wants to go on me. And it kind of escalated from that point. And then I think it was second or third period, that's when there was really that line brawl, and it just, you could feel it.
Oh, boy.
So that actually transferred to when he went and played with Vancouver, because I don't think we maybe played Vancouver one time, but they had an amazing team. And the very first game, it was kind of back and forth. It was really good, and you could tell it was kind of getting picked up a little bit heated. And then, yeah, that third game, that's... I think that's the game when, I can't remember now. I wish I had a better memory, but all those hits in the head, right? That's when McCardle was right by the bench, and he was actually screaming at Will. And he was saying, like, how classless he is because Benfield went and chased him down and just started to fight him. And Dorsett had a broken hand at the time, too, right. And he's playing through it. And, yeah, it was crazy. The series was unreal, but... there was a lot of bad blood between us, and a guy like Milan Lucic, oh my God. That third game, I was barely out on the ice. But watching him skate around,
right.
It was insane.
Nightmare.
Hold on, Shayne. We pulled up, Cory pulled up the game sheet from that game 3.
Yeah.
You found your way onto the score sheet with a boarding penalty 10 minutes into the first.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
There it is.
And Milan Lucic scored on the power play because of it.
So who got the first penalty in the game? Was that?
So 4 seconds in, it was McCardle and Benfield. They both got fighting and misconducts, and then also
4 seconds in.
Yeah, and then Dorsett got a random 10-minute misconduct with it. Do you remember what he was doing at the time?
off the face-off, and they were just beaking each other and whatever. They're at the red line. Then Dorsett kind of skated backwards like he was going to drop his gloves, and then so McCardle dropped his gloves, and he was like, "Okay, we're going to fight." And then all of a sudden, Benfield sheds his mitts and just chases him down and just starts beating him. It was amazing. And then I've never seen anything like that, but like just the story with that whole series, like right from game 1 there was so many points where you can remember, and it was just an amazing series. Like you get to the last game 7, and double overtime, and guys are skating around on the ice and trying to clear out fog, and it was so hot outside that day, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't playing that game, but there was like game 7, there was 0 seats in the whole arena.
No.
There was at the very top in the old rink, that track around, there was I think 3 or 4 rows of people. So I don't know if the fire marshals were even aware of this.
No.
But
not at all.
I'm pretty sure we were over capacity, and there was 0 seats anywhere. I couldn't even go and stand by the glass. So we actually had to, it was me and all the other Black Aces. We were sitting in the room watching the game on the TV.
Okay.
And just the whole entire time, I think it was Jordan Hickmott. He was wearing this gray shirt, and by the end of it, it was a dark gray shirt. That
a heather gray.
It was just sweaty and just nerves. And I remember just guys coming off the ice and taking off their skates, and there's like sweat pouring out of their boots, and
oh my God,
like it was just a hard fought battle. And then by the time we got to second overtime, and we're watching the TV, and it was kind of a broken play. Bosch got hit and held onto the puck, and he skated down the ice and kind of cut across and then shot, but the TV was delayed compared to the reaction out in the stands.
So you know what's coming.
So we heard
happening.
this chanting and just this loud noise, and we all looked at each other and went, "No!" And then looked at the TV really quick, and then we went, "Holy crap!" And we ran out, But as we were running out, we were going to go to the bench and then onto the ice. Will comes running around the corner, and we basically ran into him. And I've never seen him just so pumped. He was just fists in the air, just so excited. And yeah, we ran out of the ice. I almost fell probably 3 times. I probably should have done that. But, that was just amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
And I wish, some parts are foggy in my brain, but, I wish I could go back to that day. And it was just amazing. It was phenomenal. And I hope one day the Tigers get to do that again. I really do. And maybe this year, who knows? They got a pretty good team. And, they got the right coach, that's for sure. So
Absolutely. It's one of those moments in Tigers history where I think we all, for me, I know exactly where I was in that moment at a family member's house, listening to chat, listening to Bob, and that's obviously the most memorable call of Bob's career.
Oh, yeah. I remember being in section 31.
Oh, yeah.
I was at the top row of section 31.
So you were part of the 3 or 4 rows deep.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It was. I was in that middle spot there that was that separated the upper part of sections to the lower half of sections. Yeah, I was the 3rd row back in that
amazing.
in that middle section there. That was wild.
Oh, it was. Well, even when they had the fire extinguisher going out on the ice because there was a chip, I'm like, why are they bringing out a fire extinguisher? I knew nothing about science, hey? Why are they doing this? And then, it didn't work. And, it was... I hope one day they make that into a movie or something. That'd be so cool.
They have to.
That was... you're right. It was storybook.
It was. The whole... Even whatever perspective, let's say, it would take, it was just the whole... Even up to the Mem Cup. Yeah, we won the championship. Yeah, we partied. We had fun. But then 2 days later, you're already traveling. You're out to Vancouver. And, you're taking a plane and... on a rowdy plane with a whole bunch of other people. I felt bad for them, but we got there, and even that experience was amazing. Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So you played 1 game in the Memorial Cup. Is that
Kind of. I played 1 shift.
So you played 1.
Hey, that's more than we played.
Yeah.
Was that during the round robin against Vancouver?
It was against Vancouver. That's the game. I think we won 1-0.
Yes.
And I was playing forward actually that game again.
Okay. Why the 1 shift? What was it like? Was it a specialty? No, just
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just there in case somebody got hurt. I think it was Chris Stevens was hurt or something, and they put me in that role, and they said that they were gonna roll the lines and see how it was, and then if somebody got hurt, then I'd be plugged in. And I remember that shift perfectly. I didn't start the game. That was I think the first shift, that's the Lucic. Lucic went down and actually hit Benfeld or something. And he changes, and then our guys change, and I finally get to go out on the ice. That was second shift or something. And I remember I skated all the way down the ice to their end, and one of their players had the puck behind the net, and I'm standing in front of the net, and I kind of hit the goalie with my stick, just to hopefully make him mad. And he swung my stick away, and then puck comes up the ice, and I'm just angling this guy, made 1 hit, and then all of a sudden I hear Brown change. I'm like, oh, okay. So it was just, I had the best seats in the house. It was
Absolutely.
Great. It was awesome.
Oh.
But yeah, it was great for me to get out there and see the game, and that whole tournament was amazing. There was guys I think it was David Perron. He was on the Lewiston Maniacs. James Neal, he was on the Plymouth Whalers. And there was just talent out there that was unreal.
The goalies. I mean, not only Keatley for the Tigers, but we got Tyson Sexsmith for the Giants, Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah, Bernier.
And Michael Neuwirth wasn't starting for...
he was the backup.
Yeah, he was a backup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just the pedigree was fantastic to watch. It was crazy.
Yeah, and that whole tournament we were treated like kings. And that weekend I got to meet Bobby Orr, Gordie Howe.
Oh, wow.
Gordie Howe came in. He talked to our group before, I think it was before the Vancouver game, and got to meet Trevor Linden that weekend, and it was just amazing. If anybody gets a chance to go to that, it was the best tournament, the most well-ran tournament I've ever seen, and we were so close to winning the Memorial Cup that it's too bad we didn't. We would have loved to take it and bring it back, and but even once we lost, we couldn't be mad about ourselves. We went all the way to the final game of the whole entire year. And
Yes, you did.
yeah, so
Like, I remember when that run happened, like, satellite TV was really at its peak.
It was.
And this, because this would have been fucking May, June, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
like it's camping season.
yeah.
I remember being out in Elkwater and the amount of people that had the Bell Express view
Oh, no
strapped
way.
on top of the fifth wheel
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane. Could you feel that though? Because I mean, like technology then wasn't even close to what it is now. Like there was no social
media-wise,
media. There was
yeah.
just phone calls every now and then. Like you might have been T9 texting at some point in there. Maybe.
yeah.
I don't even know if you were there
Gotta
yet.
click it 4
Yeah,
times to
you're
get
like,
the
fucking why? That's what I want. Why? But like, did you get a genuine grasp of what the feeling was like back in the city, or were you just so
yeah.
consumed by what was happening in Vancouver that year that it was just like obviously it happens fast.
Yeah, there was a lot of fans that showed up, which was awesome. There was a lot of fans in the stands that made the trek from Medicine Hat out there, and we even had, I think, this big poster that had a whole bunch of signatures on it from kids and fans, and it was amazing. Like just to feel that and really feel, even the city buses all had "Go Tigers Go," and everywhere around the city you could just feel it. And yeah, my parents actually, when they came down for that tournament, they drove a trailer all the way from Edmonton to Vancouver. It's probably 16-hour drive through the mountains with that. And
Holy.
I think my dad said he spent $600 on gas alone just for his truck. And the campground that they were at, it was just outside of Vancouver. I can't remember exactly where. But he said when they were staying there, there was just all of these trailers, and they all came down just to try and hopefully get into the game. And there was fans from, I think it was Prince George. There was fans from Yellowknife all making this trip down. That there was, I think there's this couple. They were just massive Tigers fans, and they're from somewhere in Manitoba. They said that they met them. So
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy.
It spreads far and wide, this
Yeah.
great country. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard that the plan was to have Rory at the final game there, but there was talk that the fans in Vancouver were going to beat him up.
Oh,
and
probably.
Jeez. I heard that
I
was
don't
rumor.
remember that.
Yeah.
I think Sideshow Bob. I think he made a.
Oh,
I think he made a.
that's a throwback. Hey.
Yeah.
He's still on the
Legend.
He's still on the Chuck-a-Puck sign.
Yeah. Yeah. He was my favorite. I still see him every once in a while, and yeah, great guy.
Crazy.
Do we want some player stories, or where
Yeah, I
we
think
going with this?
we'll dive into, I guess,
Sure.
a couple lines or two. First thing that comes to mind with certain players that go back here in the day. Let's start with, we mentioned him already, Tyler Ennis.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about just his offensive talent and the way he could completely take over a game. What's the first couple of things that you think of when you think of Tyler Ennis?
Small, speedy, fast.
Yeah.
And cheap.
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
We've been teased a story or two about a few of these players. Is Ennis one of these stories, Lance?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah. So even with Ennis, I grew up playing against him, and we played on the same summer hockey teams, and I kind of knew him before. He was undrafted, and he came to camp. And when we made the team, like when you're 16, sorry, I was 15 at the time. I didn't even have a vehicle. So you have to set up rides with the other guys. Bosch would come and pick me up, bring me to school some days. And so I finally got a car. It was February my first year. It was a Mercury Mystique, just a beater. Just like it was falling apart. It didn't have any side mirrors, didn't have a rear view mirror. I probably should have got ticketed. Anyways, so I get a car, and then Ennis asked if I can come pick him up every day for school. And I said, yeah, that's fine. School started at 9 o'clock, so I got there at 8:30. Well, 9 o'clock shows up. He's still not out of the house. He's still inside. And so I knock on his window, and then finally 5 minutes later he comes out, bowl of cereal in hand, no shoes on his feet. He's got a backpack on. His hair's a mess. Then he kind of says, oh, hold on, I got to get my shoes. It's like, man, it's 9:10. We're 10 minutes late already. Like, let's go. Well, by the end of the week, I had 6 cereal bowls in my front seat. Like, just ridiculous. And a couple years go by, let's say, and then 18, we're out at Subway. He still doesn't have a car, and he's been drafted already. And, yeah, he knows that he has a good chance to make the NHL, and we're out at Subway. He's like, "Oh, I forgot my wallet." He's like, "Can you buy me something?" "Oh, I forgot my wallet." I was like, "Yeah, fine, whatever."
Yeah, I got the signing bonus money too. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Right. Like, I don't know if you guys know, like when you're 16, you only get like $60 every 2 weeks.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And when you're 17, it's $80, and then when you're 18, I think it's 100 or 120, and then it keeps increasing every year.
Yeah.
And so, if you have a car, like you're filling up, it's $40.
Yep.
Well, there goes as a 16-year-old, $60. I only have $20 left. I'm like, I can't buy this for you. And yeah, I saw him at the Tigers alumni golf tournament a while back, and I think he was even still asking guys to buy him drinks too. And this is after he's playing the NHL.
I remember. We'll dive into more players. I remember your story about an alumni tournament, but it was just like an alumni golf tournament that you were in that you were telling me about in BC, and there was like some players that were there, like some pros. Like I think we were saying, was it Jamie Benn that was there?
Oh,
and then you were in the mix there.
No, this was at my one buddy's wedding out in BC, and he was really good friends with Jamie Benn, and I wasn't. I didn't really know him, but I knew him. My time in Everett, when I played there, I think I played 11 games, and then I got hurt. But one of the games we played Kelowna, and it was a good game. All of a sudden, I felt a cross check on my back, and then I look around, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna fight." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we fight, and I'm still getting grief from all my buddies still about how he got beat up, and I said, "No, I scratched him and I got him. I beat him up." And so, yeah. And then we're at this wedding, and then he was there at this wedding, and he was buying everybody drinks, and went and tried to talk to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to go here too, aren't we?" I'm like, "Yeah." No, I don't want to beat you up again.
Suit jackets off.
Yeah, suit jackets off. Yeah.
At least he remembered you, though.
Yeah. And there's that joke still that my buddies always say that the one game he beat up Jerome McGinley, I think he was, I can't remember when, but McGinley had like this cut under his eye, and Ben basically beat him up. And so I said the joke is, I'm going to go play for the Flames now. They're going to call me up, and I'm going to go beat them up for them. I'll be their tough guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a player?
Thanks, Cory. All right, sure.
Bring the microphone back.
Sure.
Do a player.
No, you mentioned Ryan Holfeld.
Yeah.
You guys talked a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
I guess like him, and you can mix in Keatley in there too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you obviously spent a lot of time with the two of them.
Yeah. Holfie was he was a funny guy. He was kind of quirky, that every time we had practice, he'd always be the one that would stay out. He'd take extra shots or whatever, but he loved to play like forward. He'd love to go out and take shots. So he was a funny guy. The story I have actually about Keith, I don't know if anyways, he got sick. I think his tummy was a little upset this one time. We were having like a pregame meeting and watching video in the room, and then his stomach acted up, and all of a sudden he just ran past Willie and just went to the bathroom, and Willie was looking at him like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm talking here." And then, yeah, his tummy was upset, so we all had a good laugh about that as we're trying to listen to video and you couldn't listen.
Good.
Yeah.
Was he hungover?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right,
One of
just
those-
checking.
We don't do
Not
that.
not that type of tummy issue.
No.
We talked
Yeah.
a little bit about the 07 run, and obviously probably the biggest goal of the whole run was Brendan Bosch's
Yeah.
double overtime goal. What? Tell me about him. Got
Bosch?
any stories about him? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He was the captain once Russ was done, and you couldn't say a bad thing about him. He was nice to every single person. He was basically like a model Tigers player. If you could name it, he would fit that role. And he would always pick me up when I was 15. Definitely at the start of the year, not near the end of the year, because I switched billets, and he had an old beater car too. And I remember There's this one time he had to follow somebody to find this house party, and his car was like this Mazda old beater, and we're trying to follow like this Pontiac brand new car, and somehow this little tiny beater was able to find the way. Yeah, it was in the same category as my Mercury Mystique, and so
Not nearly as cool.
no. And before every practice, we'd always go and somebody would lead like the run that we would do. But this run was like a ridiculous run. It wasn't just like run around the rink. It was like crawl through spaces and like go through people's cars and like just do ridiculous things. And so this one time Bosch, I think, was leading it. We're going through, and then he's trying to open up all these cars as we go. And eventually my door was open. I didn't lock my car door. And so there's 25 guys just climbing through my car, through the back seat and then through the front seat. And somehow my mirror got broke because, I don't know, something happened. But yeah, it was just, it was, like I said, it was all the guys were really good, and we had a blast. Yeah.
Before we get to our next player, I just kind of want to know. So you mentioned that you played a little bit with Russell in terms of a combo. What were kind of the main combos? I guess as a defenseman, we talked about your forward line, but who did you get matched up with on a pairing for the most part?
Yeah, for a lot of the time, it was either Benfield or Russell.
Okay.
I don't know why they put me with Russell, maybe because I couldn't skate very well.
Stay-at-home defenseman.
Stay-at-home defenseman, yeah. They knew I had zero offense.
Mobility.
Mobility.
I've heard mobility.
Yeah, so I played mostly with Russell, and then, Benfield, and I can't remember. I think it was Isherwood. Once those guys left, it was Isherwood for the 18 year, and then, but let's say if it wasn't working, then switch it up.
Well, let's start with Russell, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the captain at one point, as you mentioned. Fantastic offensive talent.
Oh.
Kind of goes along with many of the Tigers at that time. Just a little bit about Russell and what he meant to stabilize that D-core, which was a lot, like you mentioned, a lot of tough guys, and Benfeld and yourself and the guys like that, but also having that diversity to bring the puck up ice and skate like for days.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not saying I was tough, because no.
Oh,
You wanted to be tough.
I
though.
wanted to be
That's
tough.
right.
Sure. Yeah. Well, even with Russell, like I tried to pattern my game after him, but there was no way I could even skate as good as he did. Just the way he could pass, skate, shoot, like it was a dream just to even watch him play every game. Like he was the nicest guy off the ice too. When I was 16, he took me out for dinner after a game, just me and him, and he said, "Yeah, get whatever you want. I'll pay. It's all good." And I said, "Sweet." And he gave me hockey sticks, and yeah, I would just literally my objective was just to pass the puck to him and let him skate.
Yeah.
And if he got cut off ice, then I would just be back and stop the puck, and then once I get it, pass it to him, and there he goes.
Well, that was a formula that worked for a long ass time, though.
Oh yeah, and he was one of the pivots on the back end for the power play, and him and Schlemko, for sure, was like, even Schlemko was lights out. He was so good, and I think he was probably the most underrated player at that time.
Yeah.
As a D-man, like the stuff he could do with the puck was just insane. Like his hands was amazing.
Oh, I remember that shootout move.
Yeah. Yeah, when he did like the around the world backwards and then the one hand. Oh, like
Yeah, because he had
did
a
that.
couple that were like, I don't even know if YouTube was a thing yet, but
Yeah.
they were YouTube worthy.
Oh yeah, and his hands were the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he didn't even try. Like, he didn't even try. Like in practice, I'm trying to practice my skills, and I'm just hacking up the ice, and he's just
Practicing your stops and starts on the blue line.
yeah, like there's some of the things that those guys could do, and I remember Cam Barker, like seeing him skate and just play for the first time. Like I've never seen a snapshot as hard as that. And I was just dumbfounded. Like I couldn't even get the puck to hit the net from the blue line, and he's sniping top corner. And yeah, like I said, like I wasn't there to shoot, I wasn't there to score, but I sure wanted to. Oh, like those three guys, they really stick out. And even Benfeld, like he lived up in Leduc, and so we'd always carpool sometimes for Christmas and drive up and down. And the one year, I can't remember what year it was, but he hitched a ride with me, and he apparently got a guitar that Christmas. And so we're driving down, we get stuck on the highway, and he's passed out in the back seat, and I'm all by myself. I'm like, oh, thanks. I guess I got this. And he's cuddling his guitar, and he was just like this big teddy bear, right? He was a big, tough guy, but a big teddy bear. So, yeah. And, yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, Gord Baldwin. I used to room with him.
He was massive.
He was massive.
Yeah.
He was like 6'5", and the billet house we were at, his legs would like hang over the end of the bed,
Like it was a fucking race car bed.
No, not that bad.
He's like Buddy the Elf.
Yeah, that's how it was. And his legs was like they were hanging over the edge, and yeah, he had to duck everywhere he went in the house, and even when he was showering and everything, he was just ducking down, and he was this big goofy guy. So yeah, it was hilarious.
We'll fire out a couple more players in a sec. How many though? Because I mean, the guys like Ennis and Russell, understandably, I mean, with pro careers, it's tough to try and stay in contact because I mean they are admittedly doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But how much contact have you kept in touch with different guys that you played with?
It's not too much. I see Keatley around the rink every once in a while. I'll say hi, and but mostly everybody's kind of taken off out of Medicine Hat. And
Yeah, Keatley's still local, isn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's got little guys that play Timbits hockey.
Oh,
And,
cool.
yeah. But yeah, other than that, like everybody's off doing their own thing, and Facebook isn't really a thing even to contact somebody. And yeah, it's tough to keep in touch with a lot of those guys, and because especially in my last year, when I got traded to Everett, lost a lot of contact because social media wasn't a thing back then, and I didn't really even have a cell phone back then. I didn't have a cell phone until I was probably 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Not like now when my little 8-year-old kid at home has a phone. And
Different world.
Different world. Right?
100%.
When was the last kind of alumni get together? You mentioned the golf tournaments. Is there anything that, like in the last few years, say that the Tigers have gotten together with that group of guys? Or
no, there was one year when I wasn't here in Medicine Hat, but since then, no, nothing really, no.
for sure.
Well, Shayne's going to be the chairman of the alumni WHL Championship Committee. I don't know, make up some bullshit. One guy that you've probably haven't seen since you played with him is Jakob Rempel.
Oh gosh. He loved dates, like those raisins. I don't even know if they're raisins. He had Costco-sized dates, and he was from Slovakia, Jacob Rempel, and he'd always ask for rides, right? Like whatever, I'd go pick him up, and he'd always have this bag of dates, and I don't know how or like whatever. So he had this big Costco-sized. By the end of practice, they were gone. Like he was eating them on the bench, and. Dates
of all things.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it fair to assume you haven't had contact with Rempel since you played?
I haven't talked to him.
That's fair.
Yeah, probably since we all said bye to one another, and I wish I did. Like even there's a guy from Russia that came and played with us, Provkin, Alexander Provkin.
Okay, yeah.
And he was this little guy from Russia, and I remember we had rookie party, and he just loved it. Like, just loved rookie party, and he's from Russia. What do they drink in Russia?
I was gonna say vodka.
Yeah. So, a whole bottle gone, like water.
That's what I've heard. Like, anytime, any meal, they take that down.
Oh, it was insane.
That's a good look. Hey, Provkin's still playing.
Is he?
Where's he at this
The
time?
German third league.
German
wow.
Third League, okay.
Good. He's traveling the world.
Grinding it out.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, so even guys like that, I wish I'd keep in contact with, and talk to Michael Allen from a while back. He's from Sweden. He's got 2 girls now in Sweden, and I think he still plays. I'm not entirely sure, but talked to him a little bit just to see how his life was going. And yeah, it's just neat to see where guys end up. Like it's pretty neat to to tell my my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old at home and say like, "Oh, Daddy used to play with that guy." That guy on the Oilers? No, you're not a good skater.
I used to be his D partner, actually. One guy that hasn't left town is Bob Ridley. So
Oh,
we'll get
yeah.
a little bit away from the players. He's coming up on his 4,000th game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, obviously
That's good.
50 years with the Tigers. What experiences did you have with him? Do you have any stories with him?
Did you get on the pre-game or the post-game with Bob?
Yeah.
I did a couple of times, and the first time I ever got interviewed was my first interview ever, and he could tell I was a little nervous, and he was asking me these questions, and I kind of blanked on one of them. I just went, yeah. And he goes, "I'll ask it again. It's okay. I'll ask it again." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." But he was amazing. Like every bus trip we'd take, and you can go sit up at the front, you could talk with him, you can try and keep him awake while he was driving through the mountains. And yeah, nothing crazy though. The best story with him was when we won the championship. He came into the room because we were trying to get him to come down when we won. We wanted him down on the ice with us, and he respectfully declined. He said he had to do a show, but once he interviewed everybody, he came into the room, and I have pictures of him holding up the cup and drinking out of the cup. And he never had a beer with us that entire year. I will say that but that night he did. He was super pumped, and yeah, we were having some drinks in the dressing. Can I even say that? I don't know.
Well, you just did. So that's okay.
You might as well expand on it.
There's
You're
nothing wrong with
champion.
that, though.
Yeah,
Like, I
no.
mean, yeah, you win a big title like that. Like
Oh.
that's normal.
Yeah, and yeah, he was down there with us, and we were just so excited that even that night, he didn't come out with us, but we went to Earl's, and Earl's stayed open till like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And just because we didn't get out of the rink till 12:30, and yeah, it was just the craziest experience, and I'm glad he was there with us because I think he had it one more time before in 2004, and then he was also with the Chinowiths when they went to the Mem Cup, and
Right.
I'm happy that he can do that because he's gonna be a legend in Medicine Hat. He's amazing. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Any more players? We only got 2 boys.
I have one kind of
Okay.
not about necessarily a player that you played with, more against. Like, who's the toughest dude?
Good point.
Whether it was someone
Yeah.
that was fast, just a pain in the ass. Like when you woke up and you're like, "Fuck, here we go."
Darren Hell.
So and so.
At practice today?
Okay, yeah. Outside of practice, because I don't want you to relive that again.
Yeah.
Just like another guy that you always remember as just being the toughest guy to play against, and not like physical toughness, but
Yeah.
just like, man, this is not fun.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them actually. My first year, we were playing preseason against Swift Current, and there was this guy. He was probably 240 pounds. He's 5'8". Like his last name was Brandon, or his name was Brandon Tidball. And I'm fresh, like new. I barely have a mustache. This guy's like a full-grown man with a beard, and he was just brought there just to fight. Like he was an enforcer. And like if you ever watch like Goon, that movie, he's like a Doug Glatt. Like he could barely skate. He was just there just to fight. And I'm there as like a 15-year-old, and I made the smart choice to cross-check him in the back. Well, he just turned around and just laughed at me. I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? So the next face-off, he comes, he's standing by me. He's like, I'm going to rip your head off. I'm going to rip your head off. I'm just like, oh, no. So he was crazy. And the best player I've seen was Troy Brower. When he played, he had 120 points or something like.
For Portland, right? Was he on?
No, Moose Jaw.
Moose Jaw.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And he could skate, he could hit, he could shoot, and he could just rip the puck. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up and saying, yeah, I don't want to play this guy. Like, I don't. Then the next would be Lucic. Like, I got hit against the boards. It was like a nothing play. I just passed it up. He came, he hit me. But as he hit me, all the air escaped my body. I just went, go to the bench. I couldn't breathe for like 10 minutes. He was just a big, scary dude.
Damn it.
Another guy, I think it was Ryan White from Calgary. I don't know why. I hated playing against him. I I didn't like it. He was fast, he was quick, he could shoot. Every time he'd get the puck, I'd just be like, oh crap.
Yeah, Val, the receptionist up in the Tigers office, Ryan White, is her least favorite player.
Yeah.
Over all the years, she
hated
hates
him.
Calgary, and she just remembers back in the days when he would play the Tigers, and she just hated him.
Oh yeah, especially after that series, because he would go and he'd hit a guy pretty dirty and whatever. It's playoffs, and yeah, I remember talking with Val too after that. And she'd just be like, "Oh, that White! Oh my god, she's so funny." The other one, now it just escaped my brain. There was a lot of guys. Oh, Eberle could dangle out of a little tiny phone booth. Like, he made me look like I couldn't even stand on my own 2 feet. He would just backhand toe drag. He was amazing back in the day.
You weren't the only one though to be schooled
to be
like
fair,
that, right?
yeah. To be fair, yeah. No, he made a bunch of guys look bad.
100%.
So if I could stop him once, I was like, yep,
Yeah.
accomplished.
Check.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many players that have moved on and playing in the NHL now, and it's really cool to see. It really is. That even with Helm, I'm glad he has success, and he's still in Detroit, and he's got kids now too, and it's awesome. Yeah.
And like you mentioned, like just the fraternity of guys who make it to the WHL, yourself included, no matter what skill level you are, it's a huge accomplishment and nothing to take lightly. So that is fantastic to see. Anything else, gentlemen? I think we're going to...
Well, last one is like for me is just, I mean, yeah, you don't play hockey anymore, but you took your schooling and you decided to become a teacher, which is really cool. Alexandra, right?
Yes. Yep. Grade 7 and 9. Yeah.
And
Good
I
for
mean,
you.
that's got to be cool. How many times do you get asked about your glory days? I mean, because now you're going to be signing autographs at school again.
No. I told the one kid that it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. He brought in my old hockey card, and he asked me to sign it in class. I said, "Dude, you don't want that. I'm going to actually make the value go down if I sign it." So, a couple of kids actually, I think it was my second year teaching there. They thought they were funny, and they went and they Googled my name online, and they found a whole bunch of pictures of me, and they posted them all up over the school, and they just made fun of me every day about it. And then they're asking me to play floor hockey in the gym, and this one day they gave me the worst stick. I could barely even, it would flop in my hands. I couldn't even shoot with it. And they're like, "You used to play?" It's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, get out of my face. You're in detention, get out of here.
You laid one out and showed them what's up. That's how I play hockey.
Yeah.
You're a Lucci chit in the corner.
Yeah, so, at school there, a lot of the kids weren't even born then now, right? So
No.
they know that if I tell them, "Oh, cool, yeah, you cool, whatever, you played, cool, whatever," and it's not really. If I would say I played now on the team, they'd think, "Oh, really? Whoa!" They'd be all over that.
Right.
Yeah, so it doesn't give me any points. I told them it doesn't make me cool. I'm not a cool person.
Their parents, though, if they go back to home after a day of school, they're like, "Daddy, Mr. Brown, he played hockey." And then they go through the old hockey DB or whatever and find your stats and whatnot. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was actually funny because I was telling them, and a lot of the kids like video games, right? And there was a kid saying, "Oh, Mr. Brown, do you play NHL video game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, every once in a while." He's like, "Oh, were you ever on that game?" Because you know how you can have WHL, and so I said, "No, I got hurt in my 19-year-old year, and then the next year I didn't go back because my hip." And then they're like, "Oh, wait, wasn't that the year when they came out with the rosters on the NHL?" I was like, "Yeah, don't make me go back to those days. I was so mad. I could have been on a video game." Yeah.
Wow. You just missed it, hey? Damn.
Yeah, just missed it. But yeah. Anyways, now my kids, Sogard, he's in the video game that they play now. So
Right.
He actually billets with their grandparents. So
Okay.
yeah, so my kid always plays as the goalie now for NHL, and It's actually funny.
That's a cool little.
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's
cool.
super cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Shayne, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks
we
for
really
having me,
appreciate
yeah.
it. Reliving
That's
the
great.
glory days. For Lance Dahl, Cory Bukauskas, Shayne Brown, Colby McKee. We'll talk to you next time.